over the last 8 years, I have covered every minute of the proceedings of the North Carolina Republican Party state conventions. And I will continue to do so this year and in years going forward. But one of the things I've learned over the years in watching and rewatching these commentary videos is that they get very lengthy. Now, I'll continue to do lengthy videos on commentary, but one of the things I've discovered is that going into a convention, like the one we're going to have just 3 days from now, is that myself, and I think it goes for a lot of other people, we just want to know, yes, we want to watch the lengthy commentaries, but we also want to have videos where I just give you a short summary of what happened last year's convention. It's a way of helping myself refresh memories of last year's convention, and if you just have time to watch like a 5-10 minute video rather than 3 hours of commentary, then that's what you want. So let me go ahead and talk to you about last year's convention. And first of all, it was held in Greenville, North Carolina. It was supposedly held at the Greenville Convention Center. However, most of the convention itself was actually held at the ballroom of the fabulous Hilton Hotel, and instead of the convention center, because what happened, this is like just a few days, because Donald Trump was the keynote speaker for Saturday night's dinner. Well, the Secret Service told Chairman Michael Watley that you had to put the Trump dinner in the convention center and swap that out with the convention business hall. So the convention business was done in the ballroom, which was this weird shaped trapezoid room. Donald Trump had his dinner in the convention center, which I'm told was quite spacious. I was not at the dinner, but I heard it was very nice, very eloquent, and very, spacious. Okay, on Friday afternoon, we heard a report of the Rules Committee. Now, this was very controversial because, remember, this was 2021, and we were trying to come out of COVID, right? We were allowed to meet in person, but the party decided to accommodate people who did not want to venture out. So they had people attend the convention via the internet. Virtual delegates, we call them. And what the Rules Committee decided to do was they had rules put in place. There were two big rules here. All proposed changes to reports must be made before the convention by May 28th. That was like 10 days before the convention. Also, there was a May 28th deadline for the nominations for the chair and the vice chair. Well, these two were struck down by an overwhelming majority, 320 against the rules changes and 12 for the rules changes. Well, they were struck down because it would take away pretty much any debate, and any opportunity to make motions or amendments on the floor of the convention. That's always been tradition up until 2020, when we had to go virtual exclusively because of the pandemic. And another weird thing that happened on Friday afternoon was that guests could not be seated until 3:30, even though the convention started at 2 o'clock. So they missed an hour and a half of action from the convention. That just, to me, stinks, because in 2018, I was moving back from Florida to North Carolina, and I had to attend the convention as a guest because I had not yet set up residency in North Carolina. But I was allowed to watch every all the proceedings from the convention hall. I did not have a problem getting a seat as a guest on a 90-minute delay. Hopefully, this year, if we have guests, that will not be an issue. Next, we looked at the platform, and there were some grammatical errors and just those sort of things. The only real thing of consequence or change to the platform was they took the words homeschooling out of the government funding for education, because because if the government's funding homeschooling, then they're going to want control. So that's why that was taken out. Also, Convention Chairman Billy Miller appointed more sergeant-at-arms than usual because of the weird trapezoid shape of the convention hall. So on Friday, we adjourned pretty early, 5:02 p.m., and then Saturday morning, that was when the real action was. There were 10 proposed changes to the plan of organization. Only 2 of them got voted in as a yes vote. And these 2 were Amendment 8, which states all state convention committee members, which is the rules, credentials, plan of organization, or platform, will serve 2-year terms instead of 1-year terms. These terms go from September 1st of any odd number year till the convention of the next odd number year. So in other words, the next election cycle for these will be in 2023. So their term is going to start on September 1st of 2023. And it's going to go until the 2025 state convention. And that's usually held right around May or June of 2025. But this brings this election in line with the election of all the other party officers, because an odd number of years, you're going to elect your state chair, your vice chair, and your district chair, and your county chair. All your officer elections are going to be an odd number of years. And now you're going to add state convention committee members to that. And then the other amendment that was voted in was just some new language that clarifies the duties of what the plan of organization actually does and the work of that committee. Now, there were 8 amendments that got voted down. I'm going to go ahead and read just the summary of them. Amendment 1, let me give me just a minute. I forgot to write the summary statement of that. Okay, Okay. Amendment 1 is the purpose of that was to ensure that someone in the party office does not use their position in the Republican Party to assist any candidate for public office. And if they do, that person will be deemed to have resigned when they take an action that legally makes them a candidate for public office. My advice would be, if you want more information, to go watch it's very, very confusing. But it got turned down. Amendment 2 is, in order to get rid of weighted voting, which the party currently uses in the election of chairman, vice chairman, and national committee man or woman. In order to get rid of this weighted voting, the vote also, to get rid of it, has to be weighted as well. And this was to prevent a simple majority vote from changing this section immediately before an election for state chairman and vice chairman. Amendment 3 would have allowed the Central Committee to meet sooner than a 10-day notice to accommodate emergency situations such as a fire headquarters or another pandemic. Amendment 4 would have increased the number of state executive committee meetings from 2 to 4 annually to equal the number of district executive committee meetings of 4 annually. Amendment 5, that would have had all conventions and executive committee and central committee meetings to be held in person. Amendment 6 says all at-large members to the state executive committee would have been appointed at the county conventions instead of the district conventions. Amendment 7, that is, if district officers or at-large members are drawn out of their congressional districts via redistricting, then they will be subject to immediate replacement instead of waiting for the next district convention. And finally, the other amendment that got voted down, there were 8 of them, by the way, that got voted down. Amendment 10 would have created a personnel committee made up of NCGOP volunteers and not human resource professionals. Then we had officer elections. This was on Saturday afternoon. Michael Watley was unanimously reelected as chairman through acclamation, and he received a standing ovation before and after his speech, which was one of the few times at any political event where I've ever seen a person get a standing ovation before and after an event. In the past, I've had speakers or party officers who have gotten a standing ovation after they speak, but never before. So that was pretty cool. Then we had the nominations for vice chair. First, Susan Womack, Michelle Woodhouse from the mountains area, one of the counties up there. She gave the nomination speech for Sherry Lynn Womack. The nomination was seconded by Yolanda Hill and Lee Haywood, both of Guilford County. Susan Mills was nominated by Kay Wilt, and the second nominations were from Tina Forsberg of Guilford County, Donna Williams of Lake County, and John Stewart of Union County. Then we went to the voting. This started at 3:05 p.m., and the voting was done for the first time, really, in the history of the convention. Delegates were allowed to vote via a smartphone device or a laptop. Well, this triggered a massive stampede of people going to the help desk, going to these little tables that were set around the convention hall for help. Goes to show you that the average age of people that attend these conventions is a lot older than yours truly. But hopefully they got the help they needed. Okay. At 3:40, things got really... 35 minutes later, delegates were escorted back to their seats, and we did Dearly Departed. Now, this was a very low point in the convention. This was, I thought it was horribly done, okay? They put all 100 names on one slide in very small print. No classical music in the background. And plus, the names were not even listed in the convention program. In years past, it used to be a lot better done. The names would flash one at a time with music in the background. Also, they were done on Friday afternoon before any business was getting done. And certainly was not in the middle of officer elections, that's for sure. Then we went to open mic announcements, and then we had Representative John Torbett of Gaston County make a motion that the convention be adjourned immediately following a speech from the vice chair winner. This was seconded by Will Connect of New Hanover County. And then Daniel Berry went one step further. Daniel, you were having such a great convention. Why did you do this? But he did. Making a motion to suspend reading the county by county vice chair vote totals, which had always been tradition at convention. Those were suspended until Sunday morning's executive committee meetings. That motion passed by a voice vote overwhelmingly. Susan Mills, she won the weighted vote and the official vice chair election. However, it should be noted that Sherry Lynn Womack won the actual delegate vote total. It's a huge reason why I cannot stand weighted voting, because it does not accurately project the actual wishes of the delegates. It favors, I think, the more urban establishment counties. Although I certainly would not call Guilford County, where I live, an establishment county, because we usually vote for more the anti-establishment candidates. But okay, so we dismissed on Saturday afternoon at a record early time, way too early. It was 4:12 p.m. And then I headed out of the convention hall, and I saw a long line. It's like a half mile of people waiting outside in 90-degree heat, 95% humidity, and I was told they wait outside for up to like 90 minutes just to go see Donald Trump at a dinner. So that's a big reason why, hey, you never dismiss the convention early like that. Just don't do it. It's not cool. Don't dismiss till at least like 6 o'clock. Come on, people. Okay, Sunday morning we had the executive committee meeting. The room for that changed at the very last minute. I was actually told by a member of staff that the room had changed after I was in the original room. This, by the way, was not broadcast until the absolute couple minutes before the meeting was supposed to start. So I, as a public service, went on my Facebook page and be like, delegates, the room has changed for the executive committee meeting. So hopefully that will not happen again. Definitely better communication needs to be needed at conventions in the future. The agenda was, this year it's a lot better. The agenda is back to what it should be and actually gives you what's going to happen at the business sessions. Last year was very, just had business session 2 to 6, nothing else on the thing. But at the executive committee meeting, Chairman Whatley discussed the record attendance and said it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have. But he said that all state conventions going forward need to be held in bigger cities like Raleigh, Charlotte, and Greensboro. Also, he talked about Trump actually endorsed Ted Budd for the U.S. Senate at Saturday night's dinner. And this actually surprised Chairman Whatley, but he said that himself and other party officers will remain neutral. And Michael Whatley, who's very close with Donald Trump, said that he, had no idea that Trump was going to endorse Ted Budd that night, but he did. Okay, next order of business at the EC meeting was the chairman had some new officers in his cabinet. He nominated Brad Overcash for treasurer, Devon Barber for assistant treasurer, Russ Ferguson for general counsel, Steve Long for assistant general counsel, Miriam Chu for secretary, assistant treasurer Michelle Nix, and finance chair Keith Kennedy and assistant finance chair Will Connect. These officers were all voted in via acclamation. And it should be noted that Brad Overcash, this year we're going to have to replace the treasurer because Brad Overcash is now a state legislature. It says in plain memorization you cannot be a party officer and a legislature. Devon Barber, if he wins his race on tomorrow evening, he will also have to resign as assistant treasurer. There was only one holdover from Michael Whatley's first term, and that is Michelle Nix stayed on as assistant secretary. Okay, so at 11:42 a.m., we adjourned, and the person who made the adjournment was Senator Ralph Heiss from Mitchell County. And guess what? Senator Heiss has a primary. And I hope he loses, because guess what? He lives way out in the mountains and decided that, he wanted to make a motion to adjourn when the proper classy thing to do would have been to leave on his own and let the unfinished business from Saturday continue at the executive committee meetings. But, like, I guess there were like 200 people who were half awake and they voted yay. Only like 6 of us, including yours truly, voted nay because we still had 15 resolutions and the county by county vote totals were never read. I had to get the county by county vote totals from the state party via email. Also, the resolutions were not heard at the December executive committee meeting either. So yeah, that is, well, I did that in 20 minutes, but nice summary for you to what happened at the 2021 state convention. Have a good day. Bye-bye.